Suddha Dwadasi, also celebrated as Pavitra Dwadasi. And Vedavyasapriya Swami Maharaj worked as a research biochemist first in East Africa. Later, when he migrated USA, within a week of arrival in the US, he met the devotees, disciples of his divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of ISKCON. Later, he had a chance to visit Vrindavan in 1975, brought Vedavyasapriya Swami close to meeting Srila Prabhupada. He came to Vrindavan one day before Srila Prabhupada's scheduled visit, and becoming life member in 1974, was invited by Vrindavan devotees to stay overnight for the opportunity to meet Srila Prabhupada. But unfortunately, Maharaj missed this opportunity because his luggage remained in Delhi while he had taken a tourist bus trip to Vrindavan. So following year 1976, Maharaj became more involved with the local temple in New York, liaising between local Indian community and temple, and in August managed to hear the conversation of Sri Prabhupada with live members. Following day was Radhayatra. At that time, Sri Prabhupada was very sick and well protected by his closest disciples and servants, so the opportunity for personal interaction was not there. But he got his first darshan while Sri Prabhupada was getting onto Sri Subhadra's cart. Sri Prabhupada was able to give only short lecture during the Radhayatra, which was attended by Vedavyasa Maharaj. Important one, this section is very important. Vedavyasa Swami continued to have the association of Sri Prabhupada's disciples, who instilled in him their enthusiasm for his divine grace, Krishna conscious philosophy. He took shelter of Sri Prabhupada and was received initiation beads and spiritual names sent from Sri Prabhupada, who, due to his poor health, was unable to personally attend the initiation ceremony. Maharaj recalls at the time his preaching mood was already strong. And this is the important part. He inspired two of his close friends and fellow life members to be initiated at the same time, as he was persuading them that they would always be in regret if they missed this opportunity. So that we thank Maharaj very much for giving us his association and his instructions carrying from Sri Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Maharaj. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhya vacha pattanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namo. Krishna ki jai, Maharaj ki jai, all good Prabhupada.
Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantigam Vandeham Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Sajivam Satvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namah Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shanyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vranda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. I was told to speak on the essence of Bhagavad Gita. The essence means the nectar, and nectar must be concentrated. So generally, the entire Bhagavad Gita has to be compacted, and Srila Prabhupada put the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita as the contents of the Gita summarized, So we anticipate most of the instructions are coming and they are elaborated through Gita. It's the instruction and information of Lord Shri Krishna about himself and uh, all the living entities, those who have lost their relationships with him. But to reestablish, he again puts everything into a very concluding remark that is described in the chapter number 18 as the, uh, the conclusions or the subject matter of Bhagavad Gita has been concluded as a perfection of renunciation. Perfection of renunciation. uh, what it implies that the living entity are in wrong place, living a wrongly conceived life, whether by force or means force means like punishment, or by one's own uh, uh, conscious growth. Like in evolution, uh, the Darwinism describes only the physical growth and physical changes according to the circumstances, but that is not the real evolution. The consciousness has been given, and this consciousness is more to be found in human being than the other animals. Of course, maturity of this consciousness pervades both in demigods as well as demons. So ninth creation is human being, but 10th is demigods and demons. So this is described very well in Srimad Bhagavatam. But even though with the developed consciousness, whether it is in favor of Lord Shri Krishna, who is the giver of consciousness, and consciousness gives life. If there is no consciousness, there is no meaning of life, neither it functions as it should. So the main important thing is that emphasis on every living entity being the seed and it's coming from Lord Krishna. So there is some identical nature and difference existing simultaneously. The living entity is too infinitesimal to be a significant person, you know. When the supreme living entity is too magnanimous to be even estimated. So, thus the distance between the living entity and the supreme living entity, Lord Shri Krishna, is very far. It's the gulf of difference. But eventually, the consciousness becomes the medium if one becomes realized about his reality. A realization has only thing to do with reality. If there is nothing real, then there is no sense to describe it. Temporary things have a lot of descriptions, and such descriptions are filled with volumes in the treasure house. But the descriptions and realizations are, of course, in a lesser volume, but they describe with realization and realization about the reality of oneself and one's surrounding. So, what makes one, forget Krishna? You may say Krishna makes you forget. Yeah, because he declares. It says, Matta smrtir gnana pohanam cha. Through me, smriti means remembrance, gyan means realization, and apohanam means forgetfulness comes. It means if Krishna is the cause of our forgetfulness or the living entity's forgetfulness, then we should examine that is it an imposed by Lord Shri Krishna, or we also participated in choosing the side to forget Krishna. So Krishna tells, Ichha dvesha samuthena dvanda mohena bharata sarva bhutani sammoham sarge yanti parantapa. What is forgetting is sammoha. Sammoha means sum total of moha is called sammoha. Moha means false attachment. Means we are living even a temporary life with a continued moham from 8.4 million species of life. And that culminates into sammoham. But the root cause of sammoham is ichha and dvesh, a separate desire which has arisen from enviousness. So without any exception, every living entity has come in rebelling against the desire of Krishna and chose to exist separate. Means Krishna has to provide them a separate creation in which they can try to fulfill their desires. They do not understand that they are part and parcel of the supreme consciousness, and they want to misuse with their minute independence, even though to misuse the so-called liberty. So this puts the real question, you know. Even Krishna was there in front of Dhritarashtra as a friend of the family. But of course, his dear ones were Pandavas and not Kauravas. Dhritarashtra knew even that. And Bhishma Pitama, even Dronacharya, they were on the side of the Kauravas. And they knew that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And everybody has to execute his desire. But Krishna is putting all the opportunities in his intimate servants, those who are taking part in this particular Mahabharata. Even Dronacharya knew Krishna very well as the Supreme Personality of God. Even Bhishma Pitama knew very well. Even Sanjay, the secretary of Dhritarashtra, the blind Dhritarashtra, he knew Krishna very well because he was endowed with power by Vyasadeva.
Everybody else.
So the important point is that even though Krishna will declare himself as the absolute truth personality of Godhead, yet those who want to ignore him have ignored him, like Kauravas, because their entire blindness is overcome by the false attachment to the temporary bodies and the bodily reactions and the so-called enjoyment of the reactions called sukh and dukh, happiness and distress. But they want to choose only happiness and not distress. So blinded by that their choice, even in the wrong medium or a temporary medium, the frustration remained with them, and they have to lose the game, even though, however treacherous controversies that they have created against the Pandavas. So Krishna is always steady in his resolve, and because he is absolute truth, everything has emanated from him. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattah sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvita. He gives opportunity to everybody to become wise and deliberate this particular matter, that nothing has been developed without the cause. And the cause of all causes is the Supreme Absolute Truth Personality of Godhead. And that has to be fully realized. People were putting the religiosities and religious practices to be quite an important aspect, that the practice itself will give the result automatically. So they were ritualistic people, but not understanding the real attachment to be developed with Lord Shri Krishna, whom they are part and parcel. So when the original relationship is broken, however artificial relationships we are trying to build, it will be simply a moha. In every species of life, we have created moha. And in human form of life, that accumulated moha is going to be the cause of our bondage. So we have to be taught buddhi yoga or intelligence by the means of intelligence, purified intelligence, which is very, very close to the soul and super soul. Not the mind, not the ego even. Indriyani pararahu indriyabhya paramana manashastu paror buddhi buddhistu sa eva para. Buddha, buddhi means the Krishna conscious intelligence. So Krishna is revealing all the temporary aspects, but even for the temporary aspect of our existence in the material body, which happens to be created by food, annad bhavanti bhutani parjanyadanna sambhava, yagyad bhavati parjanyo yagya karma samadbhava, karma brahmodbhavam viddhi, brahma aksharam samadbhavam, tasmat sarvagatam brahma nitya yagya pratishthatam. All the sequential aspects have been told that the jiva in any species of life has been given by the mercy of the Lord the consciousness and the proclivity of fulfilling their desire through karma. And karma becomes the bondage because they want to enjoy the fruit of it. So this bondage will be perpetually accumulated, and that will create some more. The one who is bound by hands and foot cannot dance freely. Prabhupada says that one should not, rather one has to deliberate that now in this human form of life, I must know who am I, and how can I get rid of these threefold miseries that is been imposed upon me, even though I'm trying to find by fulfilling my own desires, even without even considering that Lord Krishna is the cause for me in this situation. Anyway, we asked for it, what we got it, and because we got it, we can't complain. So it doesn't mean that we should not utilize our intelligence, that if it is really our fault, then we have an obligation to resolve it. But Krishna is so kind. He is coming forward out of his way to execute his responsibility as a very kind and loving father, to remind the suffering soul to look at him, give up the false moha, that is attachment created by the fruits of work that he is doing, simply by borrowing energy or consciousness from Krishna. The living entity has become indebted. So from 8.4 million species of life, such indebtedness has increased. So now in human form time, in this life, he must try to repay the indebtedness by simply loving him. To surrender him, you can't surrender anybody if you don't love him. It is the love that makes surrender. And he is asking our surrender by full deliberation and our own voluntary, admittance that this sammohan has to be get rid of for once and all. And Krishna will ask Arjuna, did you hear me? Do you have any question? Are you convinced? Now do as you desire. Do as your desire. Now what is the desire? Ichha dvesh again? Ichha and dvesh. A contrary desire that comes from hating Krishna. We want to become the Lord and Master. Why Krishna is the only enjoyer and not me? It is as easy enviousness that can be developed by misuse of minute independence of the living entity. It's so infinitesimal, so insignificant. But Krishna is reaching to the insignificant soul, even smaller than him in his heart as Paramatma. Anuraniya, Mahato Mahiya. Simultaneously, he is in the greatest position, infallible position called Ajyata. And he expands himself in order to facilitate the living entities of all different kinds, starting from, one universe. It is filling up with all these kinds of living entities according to their previous state. Because the life is a continual affair. And therefore, even if you go through the Brihad Bhagavatamritam, all that lives on the higher planets are higher and higher intelligence is there, and the resolve is there. But it is so easy for developing faith, even an unknown way, to surrender to Lord Krishna through this holy name. So that is a journey of the spiritual hierarchy, that everybody tries to uplift himself by different processes. But nonetheless, whether in this age or that age, the process was appropriately given. But in Kali Yuga, the devotional service, starting from chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, has been enunciated. And Krishna declares that. However, the process is so perfect, but the performer may not be perfect. Don't worry about it. There may be some controversy saying that if a devotee falls down, but in the Shastra, nothing has been so critically described about a fallen devotee. Nothing has been described. Rather, Narad Muni is going out of his way and establishes without any fear the devotee in his immature state, if he falls down by performing devotional service, if he goes back to his old ways, what loss is there? What loss is there? So Krishna is also reforming. Apichet sudracharo bhajate mam ananya bhak sadhurev hi samantavya samyak vyavasoti saha. Right. Okay. Krishna will preserve him. Materialistic society may not preserve him because they have to be ideal. But what is the idealism in front of the ignorant mass who is averse to Lord Krishna's desire? So devotees are always helping because they are the emissaries of the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They will certainly support even the fallen person and will try to save him right from there. That is the real part of execution in Krishna consciousness. Not that, okay, you are a gone case, bye-bye. Don't come to the temple or don't associate with the devotees. One is fully barred out, you know. So, Krishna is there. And those who want to correct themselves, Kshipram bhavati dharma atma swasachantam nigacchati kaunte pratijani name bhakta pranashati. That devotee is the soul who is surrendered to the Supreme, but in the immature state or the so-called bodily discomfort, he may end up doing something unrecommended that will put up a little halt in him, but nonetheless there is ever diminution for whatever he has gained so far in devotional service that will be preserved without any deduction from his life. So a devotee is a progressive person. He is far better and being preferred by Lord Krishna, that even though he is known different with good or bad, or the gentlemen and ruffians, or the Daiva and the Rakshasas, He said, Samoham sarva bhuteshu na dveshti na priyosi me. But ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya te pite chashvaham. One who is worshipping me, bhaktya. Bhakti is the only element that is the real mercy of Lord Shri Krishna. In any form, the bhakti has to be the most valuable asset a devotee has, and it is to be preserved, and Krishna makes it preserved because he accepts whatever he has rendered, and that becomes his permanent asset, and it will not be having any diminution. Nahi durgatim tat gacchati. There will not be any durgati, Krishna is very, very compassionate, that even such compassion has come in human being. When a child is trying to walk on his 2 feet, he falls down so many times. But mother or father, they are confident that they will not be moved, they will not punish the child, or they will not ostracize the child. Rather, they know soon he will become capable to walk. So similarly, one who does not give up devotional service, even in such a unwanted fall down, but yet he will be able to resurrect because Krishna accepts whatever service he has rendered and will allow him to render further. So in this way, one has to make a resolve just to get rid of the illusion or some moham that has been created by acting on the wrong platform. It is energy platform. Without that, one is not indulging. But at the same time, if it is illusory, if it is temporary, how can a permanent living entity without permanent arrangement, permanent security will dwell in a temporary insecure places? No way. Everybody looks for uninterrupted and unmotivated, physical condition. So why not in devotional service uninterrupted and unmotivated situation should arise? Because it is a mirror image of the temporality versus reality. So Krishna exposes this to Arjuna thoroughly. Activities of the material modes of nature, the jiva, the super soul, the material nature, and the time and karma. Out of this, 4 are permanent and 1 is temporary. That is karma. Karma is the medium for the living entity to choose his eternal function of performing devotional service to the Supreme Lord. So that's what he asked from Arjuna, whether he understood him correctly or not, whether he understood his love and desire to be with him eternally in service. So Prabhupada is talking about the Krishna's unconditional love for all living entities who wants to make the solution for their miserable life by this reason or that reason. It is immaterial, but it is universal compassion of the Lord, which is coming out the genuine love for his part and parcel. So that is the position of Lord Shri Krishna as Bhagavan, not as Krishna to be of a historical personality. Now, the Bhagavad Tattva Vijnanam Mukta Sangasya Jayate. Bhagavad Tattva Vijnanam. That is the essence of Bhagavad Gita. So the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is desiring whether the living entity has understood him perfectly or not, whether he is desiring to see him or not, whether he wants to cultivate the divinity in him back or not, which he lost because of Ichchadevesha. And third thing, whether he wants to interact with Lord Krishna in eternal divine platform. These 4 things have been declared by Lord Shri Krishna twice in Bhagavad Gita, that bhaktya mam abhijanati javanshyasmi tattvatah tato ma tattvato gyatva vishate tadantaram. Tattva means truth, absolute truth. So one has to cultivate divinity to understand the absoluteness of the Supreme Person, and by cultivating that, then one will stop all the repetition of birth and death, and the knowledge that has been realized will be accumulated by further and further increasing devotional services, starting from chanting all the way to entering into Krishna Loka, his abode, with a fully developed relationship and a responsibility to be performed as pure devotional service. So Krishna is inviting every living entity by giving up all the false notions which are rather temporary or unfounded in different thoughtfulness, they have been conceived and to become pious and that, but does not touch the love aspect of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then they are useless. They are termed in Srimad Bhagavatam as Kaitava Dharma, cheating religions. So the main purpose of Bhagavad Gita to make a devotee realize about the unfathomable love of Lord Shri Krishna that he is ready to bestow upon a sincere devotee who makes the progress. In this particular age, Krishna devised himself that only my holy name will be giving all the impetus to make them pure and come back home, back to Godhead. So Arjun accepts that. He acknowledges that nasto moham smritir labdva tat prasadan maya chuta gata sandeha sthito asmi gata sandeha karishye vachanam tava. I will execute to vachanam tava. You have spoken all this instruction just to offer you. That is the vachanam. Whatever I do, I will offer to you. But it is in your conscious and your presence, as well as, it is favorable to you. And I will try to make you happy through this work, always connected with you. That is the yoga. This resolve is also coming out of love for Lord Shri Krishna. And one who gets agreed after, say, discontent, then there is a very peaceful or tranquil love and security is expressed even in our material life, but that is temporary. So what to speak, such quarrel with Lord Krishna has to cease him utterly. And he will relieve us from all different aspects of entanglement, that is kulapapam. So this is the way the essence of Bhagavad Gita comes to surrender to Lord Shri Krishna and execute Krishna's desire, Krishna's consciousness. It is not our consciousness. We borrowed the consciousness from Krishna out of his sweet help. Otherwise, we were extinguished part and parcel, and like a little speck of ash. The spark doesn't have any enlightenment as long as it was in proximity of the fire. It could ignite any amount of explosive or whatever this. That was the qualitative aspect of his energy that was given to him, but he is misusing. So he wants to go away from Krishna, therefore he is extinguished. This process of bhakti yoga by pure devotees always putting that extinguished spark back into the fire. So it can be rekindled and regain its potency and live in harmony with them. So Arjun has been, educated in the aspect of reality and giving up all temporary uh, misinformations that he has achieved through material culture. But it was good culture. So his sensitivity should not be misplaced. It is wasted. So therefore, um, uh, when Arjun in Srimad Bhagavatam first canto, Arjun goes to Dwarka along with his friend to be with him because they were intimate friends. Everything was over, but Krishna now decides that he should go back to his Golok Vrindavan Dham. So you can imagine what Arjun would have gone through when Krishna withdrew everything and he left. Uh, and Arjun was completely devastated. He lost all the potencies. And because the potency source is Krishna and he is now no more, it doesn't mean that uh, uh, Arjun, went back into the kind of the disaster that he was foreseeing. No, a devotee remains compassionate all the time with all the living entities, but not on the bodily platform. But here, Arjuna was completely purified by Lord Krishna's association, and now that association is not there. But he will end up executing uh, uh, even without his desire, whatever to be done. But then Krishna planned that he did not have even strength to rescue the 16,108 wives of Lord Shri Krishna, and while bringing them from Dwarka back to Mathura in the kingdom of Vajranath, the Krishna's grandson. Uh, and they were looted by Kavas. Uh, all the ornaments and everything was stolen, but nonetheless, Arjun brought to safe place. But he was so much helpless that he did not have any energy. Uh, his energy, his consciousness went along with Krishna. So he was so despondent when he came, he returned to Hastinapur. Yudhishthir Maharaj was already, seeing a lot of bad omens and disappearance of Lord Shri Krishna. He knew somehow or another that my Lord has decided that he must leave. Yudhishthir, he was not speculating, but he was thoroughly educated in the science of Krishna well before even the episodes of Mahabharata would have taken place in. So Yudhishthira, his mentality is to be situated very steady amongst the controversies, amongst happiness and distress.
Maharaj, your screen got frozen or something.
I think internet probably connection. Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. I think Maharaj will join back, I think.
Yeah, send a message to me.
Hare Ram, Ram Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Yes, Maharaj is back.
Okay.
So sorry, there was India. The internet gets tired by the evening. Anyway, yeah, Yudhishthir Maharaj was well confirmed, and he developed that kind of character according to his he being an avatar or the son of Yamaraj, the Mahaja. So uh, this is his participation. But Arjun became, because of same age, and he was more to be favored by Lord Shri Krishna, and this time, being a son of Indra, and Karna was not supposed to be favored. So there were politics being played against Karna, because it was Krishna's desire that Surya Putra is not to be favored this time. Only Indraputra. But that is the reason that has been said. I think in Srimad Bhagavatam, in Mahabharata, in the beginning of the material creation, there was Krishna has desired only equal situation, but Brahma being the first living entity, he cannot be equated with Lord Shiva. That is also one truth. But both had 5 heads, and Shiva knowing this, that how come Brahma has also 5? We are not two equals. And direct transformation from Lord Shri Krishna, while he is a separated part and parcel of Krishna. So Lord Shiva threw the Trishul and took off one head of Brahma. So he became 4-headed Brahma. But the quarrel goes to Krishna back, that see, I'm not justified. So Krishna says, in the material world, you always pass the blame to somebody else. And 2 of you are very important for me. You should not ever quarrel. You are my part and parcel, Brahma, but Lord Shiva is my own transformation. I am in him, while you have separated from me. So you have not yet the equal position. You are being separated part and parcel. Vibhinnansha. But Lord Shiva, my transformation, is not a Vibhinnansha. He has a special position. So what to do? The head is only one that has been separated. But he says both of you are equally responsible. So divide the Brahma Tejas of this head, and you offer your part to some favorable demigod of yours, Brahma. And Lord Shiva, you also offer your part to somebody else. And in one millennium, in one kalpa of Brahma, when I come, I will favor one and disfavor the other. So like that, in this, kalpa, Krishna came, and it was Indra's son was to be favored. Therefore, there was a natural inclination. It was not an accidental thing that Krishna selected Arjuna. They were friends and everything is there. But by hook or crook, Krishna has to favor him. But that is the nature of the material world. The quarrel goes or begins from day one of creation, and it is being, continued up to the lowest of the living entities. Man is in between. Why should he not quarrel? This is a world of opposition all the time. So Krishna allures the understanding living entity, the allurement of his own abode. He says, Mapnuvanti Mahatmana Sansiddhim Paramamgata. You know, those who those who are surrendering to me, Mamupetya to Kaunte, Dukhalaya Mashashvatam, Napnuvanti Mahatmana, Samsiddhim Paramagata. You know, when a person is, worshipping me, Mamupetya, he comes to me, then he will never come to this miserable material again. So, the world, material world, is a place of miseries, and therefore miseries are inevitable. However, you want to avoid from the life of an ant all the way to life of Brahma, miseries are there. So much misery. Even Brahma has to face the misery in procreation process. Four Kumaras denied him, the first and foremost, to go against the desire of the father, and that is the cause of anger of Brahma to produce the Rudra entities. And Lord Shiva, by nature, he wants to stay in the rapt attention of his Lord by chanting Sankarshan Mahamantra, because it's the transformation of. And he came crying, Father, give me the place where what I'm supposed to do. And Brahma said, go and become Prajapati and start progeny. So 11 Rudras were there, and they all became Prajapatis to start their progeny. But then Brahma has Manasaputras, the Saptarshis and others, and they also will say. But there has been quarrel extended between the Muni's children and the Rudra's children. And Rudras are what we call Khatarnak, Bhairavas and others. They simply can't tolerate existence of gentlemen. And so we see this place is the Khalaya. Krishna informs the living entity that the entirety, starting from the body, is a place of misery. Even the nation is a place of misery. And that kind of intelligence developed by sense perception has to be given up. So the objects of sense gratification are coming in touch with the senses, and they forget that they are the very same source of miseries. So all these truths have to be revealed one after another to make Arjuna, to be pulled out from the sammoham. So Krishna gives opportunity to all the living entities to follow his instruction in Bhagavad Gita, because it is not only applicable to Arjuna, it is applicable to all the living entities. Therefore, he uses in plurality, that without any exception, Sargayanti Parantapa, every living entity who have come into existence in this material creation, there is no exception that he will not be bewildered by the ignorance of the reality. So in this way, it's a wholesale instructions to every living entity, and it is applicable without any exception. So Bhagavad Gita is celebrated throughout the world as the science of spiritual realization, and one must practice under a skillful, bona fide spiritual master and make his life perfect simply by surrendering and executing the will of the Lord and live the entire duration of life in the consciousness of the Lord, consciousness of Krishna. So I will stop here. If there is any question or comments, please let me know.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, this is Kripamurti Das.
Go ahead.
Dandavat Pranam. I have a question regarding the favoring of Indra Putra and not the Surya Putra. I kind of missed that part due to maybe internet, but I really want to know how
It's
Krishna
a
was
reference.
determined to.
It's a reference in Mahabharata that these are the two in all the millenniums. They have to be one or the other to be favored, and it is in sequence. This is how Krishna promised to resolve the conflict between Brahma and Lord Shiva. Because if we see the relativity of a millennium, so many cycles will be there, and during the say 12 hours of Brahma, which is called Kalpa, and Krishna appears only one time. So the problem has to be resolved only once in a day of Brahma. And Indra's expansions, they have so many lives to live, earthly lives or celestial lives to be lived. But it is nonetheless lesser than Brahma. Brahma is the longest living entity. So the point is that in each millennium, or what we call each millennium, there will be so many times this revolution of the celestial years will be coming. And you feel it is very insignificant and nobody remembers after one kalpa is over. But nonetheless, they will not feel at a longer period of time that Krishna will not favor Karna this time. Only Arjuna will be favored. So the time lapse is so great that they virtually forget, but this was the cause of favoring Arjuna against Karna. You follow? That is in Mahabharata.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Amritanand Prabhu, go ahead. Next question.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you for your instructions. Maharaj, my question is related to Krishna being all forgiving. So even if a devotee falls down, Krishna accepts. And you gave the very good example of how parent encourages a child who's learning to walk. Maharaj, so how should a person who's on the path of bhakti behave, because in one sense, this particular aspect of Krishna's forgiveness can give us some kind of a leeway to keep committing offenses, and then we'll feel that, oh, Krishna will forgive me, Krishna. So how do we protect ourselves from that bad attitude?
No. The habitual or willful falling is never pardoned. It has repercussions. But as far as the suffering is for the body, not for the soul. The soul will be having a resolute, determination to keep on the devotional service, because that is the only rescue. So he will not find fault with devotional service, but his own habit, and he admits, and he will become more careful, So it will take time, but Kshipram means immediately, not without much delay even. He will soon become righteous. Because the soul, who is a devotee, not the body, the soul's purification will not be affected by such fall down. If somebody is a habitual falling person, he has attachment and he can't use devotional service to counteract. That is an offense in the holy name. Seventh offense, right? To commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name of the Lord. So, as far as that aspect is concerned, it is just like Shaucha Kunjaravat, taking bath and clean waters of the holy name, and then come out in the material world and again, throw the dirt up. So it is a useless thing. So those who want to get benefit for what do we call of the process which is spiritual, because it has spiritual potency. The spirituality will override the material aspect because it's a superior energy, period. So one has to be intellectually convinced of the purity of the process, and then with that intelligence, ati buddhigrahyam atindriya, buddhigrahyam, one must become resolute in determination and act intellectually for the sake of sat, not asat. So miserly people, they may become habitual and even criticizing Krishna, for devotional service, and criticize devotees. Now, what is their gati? They will stop wherever they have left over. It is a big fall down. But understanding the spirituality aspect, if he has some knowledge or if somebody helps him to convince, then he may have to regret like Durvasa Muni. He has to fall at the feet of the offended devotee and beg, by piteous crying, beg his forgiveness. So, in Kali Yuga, there are many intermediary situations. Is there? You may question me. Suppose if that person who is offended does not, pardon, then what will happen to that devotee? Well, that devotee who is not pardoning, he must have some enviousness. So again, what is the purpose to not pardon? Both will be infected by the reaction of the offense, right? So it is an offense, but if a devotee is advanced and who has been offended, will pardon, and he will not take into consideration any fault of him, and he will just become more humble to surrender to Lord Krishna. So naturally, the other offender devotee will also be taking the mercy of such a devotee to advance, because mercy does not go in vain. It always affects. It's not like a reward. Mercy is causeless. Krishna is having no cause, but he becomes the cause for our education, our bringing back to him. He becomes the cause.
Next question. Is that okay, Amritana Prabhu?
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you very
Oh,
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hold on, Ashish Karan Prabhu. Jagadish Syam Prabhu raised his hand. Jagadish Syam Prabhu, go ahead.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Maharaj. Then from
Hare Krishna.
then all goes to you.
Yeah.
Maharaj, very nice explanation. I have one question. You mentioned that the independency, when we misuse that, so it means like all jiva got experienced with the Krishna and then become envious, or they try to enjoy the material nature, or like a lordship over the material nature. So Krishna sent them here in Dukhalaya. By the bhakti process, like if we go back there, is there possibility like a jiva do the again same mistake and then come back? But Krishna says Gita, like once you reach there,
Yes.
punarjanamana vidyate. So Maharaj, can you give the light on that?
The devotee who comes to the final resolution, because Mam Upetya means coming to me. Who goes there? And we may believe that, oh, I have gone to Krishna, but was Krishna there or not? Reciprocation is always there between the devotee and the Lord. But if we are not able to perceive, then therefore we have to progress towards realization by perceptible process, which will be putting us into more deeper and deeper sincere and serious efforts to please Lord Krishna. Serving him according to his terms and condition, not our terms. We cannot be conditioned. Means liberation from the misconception or conditions and different ideology doesn't work in Krishna Loka. It is only his will alone has to be carried out. So, we have been habituated from time immemorial to remain in the material concept of life, and that can be only corrected in this life. Demigods do not have that much time. They are so busy in welfare activities of the whole world. But human being has sufficient intelligence to, and he was endowed. But still, unless and until some meritorious activity towards devotional service, if he has performed in his previous life, can get the opportunity to be attracted more towards Krishna in this life. So intrinsically in Krishna consciousness, it is the inclination to increase intensity is more important. That will take care of the situation of not to commit sinful activities knowingly. But even the consciousness is so close. If he agrees to beg forgiveness every time he goes to worship the Lord, Ajnana Datva Jnanat Ashubham Yanmaya Kritam, Kshantumarhasi Tat Sarvam, Dasanev Grahamam, Stiti Seva Gatir Yatra, Vicham Sarvatmana Puyam, Madhyat Chestitam. Then what is that? Pratigyatava Govinda Name Bhakta Pranashyati Iti Sansmritya Pranan Samadhyaryan. By directly or indirectly, knowingly, we have a habit to commit sinful activities even during performance of devotional service. But the habit to acknowledge the mistakes or ashubham, kritam, uh, that acknowledgement will be at least giving us a conscious reminder that at least we'll stop committing knowingly, right? Unknowing, because we have limited senses, and we might be able to forget even some aspect, but our that intelligence, it's not that soul is going to forget. Soul has to get perfectly purified by the process of bhakti, and Krishna will reciprocate accordingly. Yatamam prapadyante tamstathe vijayante. So it is not a long way in relative sense that devotee has to, but nonetheless there is always an antidote to prevent the infection of committing sinful activities.
Yeah, thank you so much, Maharaj. Maharaj, adding to that, just one more the explanation. If somehow you follow the bhakti process and you reach your destination, say like Golok Vrindavan, and is there any possibility the realized soul can make a mistake?
It is said in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu that the real taste will start after liberating from anarthas. But the residual anarthas are still existing. But when you increase asakti, then the residual anarthas will not, interfere, and they will eventually go away. But even in the state of liberation, the gross anarthas are gone, but some subtle tinge of anartha is still remaining. Nonetheless, the concentrated ruchi in favor of Lord Krishna's taste, which is now sweeter than before. Otherwise, in our material condition with all the anarthas, sweetness is there in performing bhakti, but it's mixed with the sand. You are not able to enjoy. Sweetness will be started enjoying without sand, and that is the nature of the nishtha, ruchi, and asakti. At the stage of maturing asakti, all the residual anarthas will be also gone. Then and then you will be able to understand the power. So it is there. We are given a progressive aspect with some kind of concession. That however you try, you will not be able to remove on your own effort everything. Otherwise, how is it possible in the intimate relationships with Lord Shri Krishna, that even material nature transformed in the spiritual reality and exhibit some kind of jealousy, but because it is perfectly engaged in Krishna's service, even such opposing situations are also becoming, not compromised, but it does not create a reversible effect. Yam krodha kama pranaya sahaj adi bhiti vatsalya moha guru gaurava sevya bhavai sanchityam tadrishim tanu mahapurite govindam adi purusham tamaham bhajami. So do not worry much about, uh, how much cleansing is cleansing. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited Gundicha Marjanam. Was he satisfied? No, more and more cleaning should go on. So more and more chanting is required. So it is the chanting process. It's not your efforts that has to be ultimately credited. The holy name alone is pushing us to the realm of. But we can't take any credit of our own efforts. That is hindering in the maturity of devotional service. Oh, I did it. Like that.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Okay, Ashesh Karna Jagannath Prabhu, good. I think this may be the last. Good.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj, Dhanavad Pranam. Very nice lecture and wonderful lecture. But my question is that we already tell that we are the Dasanudas, servant of the servant of the servant of the servant of the God. That is correct. But I'm telling you that this is basis on the love only. And actually, we are not das. We are the son and daughters, or we are daughters of the Lord, right? So there is some relationship with the love only. There is no das. Why we referring to
everyone is a das because they have to serve. A father has to serve the son. A father's responsibility is to make him Krishna conscious, educate him properly in the art of bhakti. Who is not a das? Everybody has been endowed a function to serve. Ultimately, he has to serve Lord Shri Krishna through all these different responsibilities. So everyone is required to perform his responsibility to other living entities in Krishna consciousness.
Yes, Maharaj, I got this point, but I'm telling you that Krishna also serving everyone, right? Krishna is giving all the energy. Krishna is serving everyone as a father.
So, will you call him Das?
No, I'm not calling him Das. I'm telling the loving father.
But a master is becoming a servant for his pleasure, not others' pleasure. He loves his devotee so much that he wants to serve out of love and compassion for his own ecstatic, gain in love. Love has no limits. By serving, if you get the reciprocation of Lord Krishna's love, why not? Krishna serving his devotee gain the same ecstasy more and more.
Yes, Maharaj, I got your point. My point was that only the love is the basis. We are loving, that's why we are serving Krishna. Krishna loving, serving us, serving his son and daughter, everyone. So
Baba, love is reciprocal. It cannot be one-sided. So service is also reciprocal. It cannot be one-sided.
Yes, yes, Maharaj. I got the point. Yes, but correct.
Thank you.
Haribol, Maharaj. Haribol, Maharaj. Dandavat Pranam, Maharaj. Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay. Thank you so much, Maharaj. I think with that we will end. I'd like to invite you again some other time.
All right, let me know.
Madhupat Prabhu.
We like to, whenever things open up, if you are coming on this side, please come. We have not been to our new center.
Yeah. I will communicate with you if I am in the area, and of course, time always remains short, but I have a desire to come and visit all of you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you very much, Maharaj, for your wonderful class and wonderful association.
Yes.
We have missed your association in the past. Whereas somehow schedules are not matched. And my apologies. Past.
No, it's okay. You did a lot of important services. We tried to set up early times, in 82s, preaching in New Jersey. We have been moving around like anything anyway. It was good remembrance.
Yeah.
Good. We'll come certainly whenever Krishna gives us opportunity, we'll share meet. Okay?
Thank you very much, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jai. All glories to His Holiness Maharaj.
Jai.
Jai. Haribol. Hare
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Kalpatarubhyascha Kripasindhubhya Vachapatitanam
Nam
Pavanebhyo Namo
Vaishnava.
Krishna Murti Jai.
Jai.
Madhupat Prabhu,
Jai.
any announcements?
Jai.
Hare Bol, Dandavad, Hare Bol.
हरे दंडवत हरि बोल सब संगत संकट संगों की जय
Jai.
Jai, Jai.
Madhupat Prabhu, go ahead with the announcements before.
Okay.